All right, so maybe you just got a motorcycle, or you want to get a motorcycle but can't make it to the MSF and you want to practice in a parking lot. So how about this? How about I show you everything you need to know about a motorcycle and how to ride and everything like that, just to get you started. And then if you want to, go ahead and take the MSF or do something like that. But this is all the information you're gonna need. So we're gonna go over the motorcycle controls to start, and then we're gonna move on to different things. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So right on the front, okay? Let's just go ahead and take a look at this. On the right side, on the right handlebars, so we're looking like this, right? On the right handlebars, you have your throttle. Now this is going to be what you're gonna go with. It's gonna put power to the rear wheel. And then on the right hand grip right there, that is the front brake lever. So this is gonna put a lot of brake pressure onto that front tire, and that's gonna give you the most stopping power that you can. It's gonna be about 70%. And then you have the rear brake on the other side, and that's gonna give you about 30%, 20-30%. All right, so the left-hand side, this doesn't move at all, okay? This is just a hand grip. It's not like the throttle that's gonna move, so that's pretty cool. So just understand that. Then right here, you have the clutch lever. The clutch lever is going to help you shift when you need to get to first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, maybe sixth gear, and also get you into neutral, okay? On the left foot right here, you have the shift lever. So it's gonna go down one, it's gonna be a half click up to go to neutral, and then it's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe 6 if your bike has that. Now it's gonna be one at a time, so if you slam it down, if say you're in fifth gear and you slam it down, it's not gonna go 4, 3, 2, 1. It's one at a time, one at a time. So second gear, third gear, fourth, one at a time. So you're gonna have to do that, and I'm gonna show you how to utilize your clutch lever to get into that friction zone, and then also to start shifting and everything like that, okay? So we're gonna go over to the right side, and this is a Honda Rebel 500. I love this bike. This is the rear brake lever. So like I said, the front brake lever is gonna be on the right side right here. Front brake lever, rear brake lever. So you're gonna press it down with the balls of your feet. So let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. So just the balls of your feet, a little bit nice and easy. You don't wanna slam it like you would probably do in a car, because you start seeing people lose traction and start doing a little fishtail stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and hop on the bike. So I like to hop on the bike with full gear. So if you don't have full gear, I recommend getting at least a helmet and some gloves, okay? So helmet and some gloves. If you have a jacket, cool. I would recommend having your, like, just a boots, like closed-toed shoes, long pants like jeans, khakis or something like that, a long sleeve shirt or like a jacket if it's nice and cold. And then highly recommend getting gloves. So if you don't have gloves right now, try get some mechanics gloves, at least for this demonstration. When you start riding, please get some real gloves and a full face helmet. All right, so how I'm gonna mount the motorcycle is I grab that front brake lever to stabilize the bike and swing my leg over just like if I was on a bicycle. So it's pretty much just a bicycle with a motor. So I'm gonna grab that front brake right here. I'm gonna grab that, squeeze it. I'm gonna lift my leg over. I'm gonna sit down, and I'm just gonna sit right here with the side stand. So that's the side stand right on the ground right there. That's gonna be the thing that's gonna hold the bike up. Sometimes you might have a center stand, so it's gonna hold it up kind of like this. And it's been dusty lately, oh my gosh. All right, so what we have here, once again, throttle, front brake, friction zone. We got rear brake right there, shift lever there. So now I'm gonna go over some of the other controls on the bike. So these are primary controls, the things I just explained. So secondary controls are gonna be the engine shut off, the engine start, the hazard lights, high beam, low beam. There's a little pass button, so you click it, so it kind of shines them, so it lets you know that you're passing. The horn and turn signals. And you'll probably have cruise control and a few other things on your bike that this bike does not have. I also have my nice little quad lock here. And then you have your key ignition. So sometimes your key ignition, I wonder if I should get these back. Anyways, key ignition can be in the dash right here, off to the side. On the Honda Rebel 500, it's off to the side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and turn on the motorcycle. And so I'm gonna go ahead and click that on, and you're gonna see that it's going to go ahead and start booting up, okay? So I got some miles here. We're neutral light. ABS is right here. The engine oil, it's gonna go ahead and do all that stuff once I start the bike. But I like seeing that I'm in neutral when I first get on the bike, okay? I want to be in neutral. It makes it a lot easier to do a lot of things. If you start in first gear, it might stall because you have the side stand. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on the bike, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the handlebars, not give it throttle, but grab the handlebars and sit it up. And this is why I recommend having a bike, especially as a beginner, that you can flat foot both sides because you can balance it pretty well, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze the front brake. I'm gonna look over, and at some point you're gonna be able to do it without looking, and I'm gonna go ahead and slide up the side stand. Now I'm fully good. Now before we turn on the bike, I want you to see that it's a neutral light. We're gonna practice downshifting to first gear. This is something that you're gonna need to do when it comes to the Smart Rider games and the drills coming up when we learn friction zone. So we're gonna squeeze the front brake. I'm gonna go ahead and press down right here on that shift lever, and you're gonna watch the neutral light disappear. There it is. Now I'm in first gear. Now how can you tell if you're in first gear? Well, you sit flat-footed right here, the neutral light's off. Okay, cool. Sometimes that could be wrong though if you have a bad bike where the electronics are all messed up. I like to go ahead and try to move it forward and back. It stops. So sometimes when they tell you to like park your car and put the emergency brake on and all that stuff, and you might be in gear and you can, on a hill, it's not gonna slide. I highly recommend if you're parking on a hill to put it in first gear, not only to have your side stand down, first gear, so that it won't slide. Okay, let's go ahead and put it in neutral. So I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze that lever, so just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do a half click up, so I'm gonna get my toes underneath. Oh, I almost fell over. Toes underneath, nice half click up, and now we're in neutral. So if you accidentally put it a full click up, you notice how neutral isn't there anymore? So that's why you need a half click. In between first gear and second gear is that neutral. So it's a half click and then a half click, or a full click from first to second. So I'm in second gear right now, and it even shows it right here on the gear indicator that I'm in second gear. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a half click down. Now I'm in neutral, okay? So now how do I know I'm in neutral? Well, it's gonna move, okay? So if you're in first gear, I'm giving you a lot of information right now, so this is kind of gee whiz stuff. So if you're in first gear and it won't wanna move, what you can do to make it a false neutral is squeezing that lever, and it's gonna wanna move, all right? So just a little tidbit information, we're gonna get going. So I'm in neutral, I like it in neutral. I notice that I can move the bike. Now I feel comfortable turning on the bike because when I do, it's not gonna lurch forward and go nuts. So I'm gonna turn it on, show you what it looks like starting in neutral, and I'm gonna stall the bike because I accidentally kept it in first. So I'm gonna turn the key, it's on, the battery's on. Here's the engine the engine shut-off switch. So I turned it on so it's able to turn on, and I'm gonna use the engine start switch, the electric switch. 3, 2, and now it's on. So it's gonna do its checks. ABS is there, neutral light's there. The oil thing is gone now because it's doing all its little checks. It's doing its thing. And now we're on the bike. So at this point, let's play around a little bit with the secondary controls. I got high beams. The light turns on, I like that. Horn, we're gonna do turn signal, so left, right, and then sometimes you have to push it in because it's not always auto canceling like you would be in a car, and now it's off. So left, turn it in, and it's off. Okay, let's play around a little bit here. Let's get used to the primary controls now. So let's just go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle in neutral. Yeah, we got some power to the bike right there. Clutch squeezes all the way, that's good. Front brake, I like it. Rear brake, and I'm not gonna mess with the shifter right now because it's gonna probably stall on us. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and now practice the opposite. So engine shut off switch right here, or the kill switch, turns off the bike. So what I'm doing is like I'm riding and I found a parking spot. Instead of doing this and have my hand off the handlebars, I just do that. So let's just pretend. It's like, okay, I backed it. Let's go up here. Let's go up here. Let's pretend. It's like, okay, I'm backing into my parking space, and instead of reaching down and like, oh crap, falling over, I just do that. Side stand, off to the side, then turn off the bike, and then I get off the bike. Okay, so let's take a look at what it looks like when you stall accidentally. Okay, so side stand up, turn on the bike, Ready for this? I'm gonna go ahead and put it in first gear. So let's say you're starting on the hill because you put it in first gear, or you accidentally left it in first gear. Now if I start it, I'm gonna hold both. It won't do it sometimes. Sometimes there's gonna be like an actual situation or the bikes are gonna make it to where you can't start it in first gear. So let's go ahead and put it in neutral and start it. Now let's say I put it in first gear, like I'm ready to go, and I don't know how to do the friction zone yet, which I'll show you right now. And I just let it go. That's what it feels like, and it's gonna be scary. That's why I always start the bike with the handlebar straight. If I started it this way, it would have fell to the left. So you stalled now, okay? Not a big deal. Let's go ahead and put it in neutral and start it back up. Not a big deal, not a big deal. All right, so I think it's time for us to jump into friction zone and practice that a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and practice a little bit of the friction zone, and what we're doing is just letting out the friction or the clutch lever a little bit, just a tiny bit, very slowly while we're in first gear. And what that does, it allows the bike to move forward, and this is very important when it comes to shifting and taking off from a stop. And then when we do slow speed maneuvers, you can actually control the speed with the friction zone and throttle, okay? So we're not gonna use throttle right now on the right hand, just a little bit of friction zone, and use our legs to balance. So we got this camera right here, and what we're gonna do is go ahead and get back on the bike, and I want you guys to see this. All right, so turn on the bike just like we did. Engine start. Now we're in neutral. Very good. So I want you to take a look at this right here. This is the clutch lever, okay? And so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put my hand underneath so you can see the top of it, is that we're just gonna go ahead and slowly release it to the point where about halfway, or like, you know, let's say a third of the way there, the bike will start to move when we're in first gear. So what that's doing is right here, we are taking away all power from the rear wheel. It might be in first gear, it's ready to go, but the power is not connected to the back wheel when it's like this. When we start to release it, it starts to give it a little bit more power. Just like if you're taking a shower and you just want to adjust it just a little bit to where it gets nice and warm. And that's your Goldilocks zone, basically. So we're gonna get up to here, we're gonna go ahead and pull in the clutch. We're gonna go into first gear. Now, once again, if I let it go, I'm just gonna stall, right? So if I do that, it's gonna stall. So what we wanna do, I'm gonna pull in the clutch, if that happens, start it back up, and we're good to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and slowly release the clutch. So nice, I'm gonna go ahead and hold it like this so you can see it a little bit better. I'm gonna do it with one finger, but I want you to use all 4 fingers. So I'm gonna slowly, no throttle, but I'm gonna put my hand on here for stability. And all I'm gonna do is kind of walk a little bit. Letting it out just a little bit. It's not moving yet, and I can feel the bike starting to move. Squeeze it. I'm gonna get back in position. I'm gonna put my feet nice and forward like this, and I'm gonna release it nice and smooth. And now we're moving. So if I kept it like this is the speed I'm doing. So I'm gonna squeeze it back in and do it again. Nice and easy. Now you're gonna get better and better at this, and if you have your own bike, or if you're at the MSF and you're practicing this, because it's one of the first exercises, you're gonna get to the point where you can just let it out, right where it starts to give it power. And that's where you wanna get to. You don't wanna always start and shift where it's just like, okay, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 now I'm moving. You want to get to a point in your riding journey to where you can just go, okay, cool. And then you go. So what we're gonna do, or what I want you to do, is to just, with your feet like this, squeeze in the clutch, go all the way back here, start finding that friction zone, going right here. Very good. And once you get that and you get a good feel and you're kind of getting bored is good. It means that you're learning it. It's not exciting anymore because it's not new, it's not novel. So now that you're bored, go ahead and get it to the friction zone. And at the same time as squeezing the clutch, squeeze the front brake. Release the front brake, get back into position. So once again, go into friction zone, squeeze both. Release. I'm gonna do this so you can see it, but I want you to use 4 fingers. Friction zone, squeeze. Not a slam, don't slam it, nice and squeeze. It's called progressive braking. What I like to describe it as, you have a half of orange, and you have a glass of, right there, and you wanna squeeze some orange juice into the glass. Well, you start off with some pressure, it starts getting some juice, but then if you don't give it more pressure, no more juice. So you have to get a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. If you smash it, orange juice goes everywhere. So once again, a nice, easy, gentle squeeze. So here we go, I'm gonna show you this. Squeeze. And you're squeezing in the clutch at the same time as you're squeezing the front brake. That is your front brake. You do the same process to the rear brake, but it's a lot easier when you're riding, you have both feet up. Okay, so we got this. We're doing pretty good. I am doing great, I love it. Now we're in first gear, let's say we're done, right? Let's get our left foot back on. Let's get it underneath with the clutch lever squeezed. Half click up. Confirm with the light, but you never trust the light. So same thing, slowly release it to that friction zone. Hey, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, and I let it go. And I can also confirm it by the fact that it rolls. Now we're gonna shut it off. We're gonna shut the bike off. So simple. Turn the key to turn the battery off. Look down if you need to, but usually you can just use the heel of your foot to put the side stand down, set it down, it feels stable, front brake, swing the leg over, and good. Now if you notice, some of these bikes have this thing right here. This makes it so that your heel can actually turn it. Now if you like stand on it, you could bend this, so be very careful to only use it to put it up and to put it down. Don't stand on this. Stand on this part right here. This is the peg, okay? And this is one of your primary controls too. All right, now that we know all of that, we're actually going to practice the handlebar turning, the head movement, and everything else. All right, everybody, we're gonna be jumping into this first part. We have to set up the cones. Now, if you don't have cones, I highly recommend you going to Walmart or something and getting some tennis balls. And you can get, cheap ones. You can get them from eBay, Amazon, very cheap, okay? Because you're gonna be cutting them in half and they become cones. I like them, they're stable, you can see them really well, and they last, honestly, forever. So we're gonna be setting up the dimensions for the Smart Rider games. And if you don't know what those are, it's the new booklet that came out. It's a bunch of practice exercises. You get a whole bunch of stuff inside the booklet. But what we're gonna be doing is the dimensions and setup part, okay? Everything is 10 feet or 20 feet in distance. Now, what that means is that you're gonna have to measure, right? Well, how did I measure without having to bring a measuring tape every single time? So what I did was I laid out a long measuring tape, about 10 feet all the way. So get one of those, they're cheap, you can go to Home Depot or Walmart. And I set it, let's say this is the end of the measuring tape, and it just kept going all the way out there. What I did was just stand still and I walked. I walked alongside the measuring tape, and what I found was 4 steps was all I needed for 10 feet. And so for the 20-foot sections, I just walk 8 steps. And so I never have to bring a measuring tape. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it's about 10 feet and 20 feet. So 4 steps for me is 10 feet, 20 steps for me is 20 feet, simple. So the diagram, I'm gonna put it up over there, is the first part is we're gonna put 2 cones. We're gonna set them anywhere in a nice parking lot. You just need about a 40 by 60, a little bit extra for more room. Is I set one here, and I set one here. And in the games, honestly, I just do one big step and set one like right here, okay? So, can you see that? No, probably not. So we're gonna make a nice little edit, and we're gonna do this. So we're gonna pretend that's the thing, all right? So I'm gonna walk the rest of them. So follow me, I got this camera right here. So right here, once again, I set some cones down and I took a nice big step right there, and we are good to go. So I'm gonna stand right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk 8 steps. So it's just straight, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right where my toe is, I'm gonna put one cone. And I'm gonna do the same thing straight, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing. I'm gonna put a cone right here, and I'm gonna do it one more time straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is gonna be that outer limit cone, okay? We don't wanna go past that for now. Maybe when I come up with the new designs. And if you see all the cones right there. So what I'm gonna do is stand on the cone. I'm gonna stand like this. I'm gonna have my arm pointing towards that cone. I'm towards that cone. And I'm gonna walk straight this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's part of the design. We're only doing 10 feet this way. Okay, I'm gonna set the cone there. I'm gonna walk back to this cone, same thing. My arm is looking this way. That looks straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. And now we're gonna go to this cone over here and do the same exact thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Same thing for over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And everything looks set up. And that is the design. You don't have to do anything different. It's gonna stay the same. The only thing that we're doing is the designs are gonna be different, okay? So we're gonna hop on the bike and we're gonna do the very beginner exercise called the balloon, and we're just gonna go around in a circle and practice our starts and stops. So now we're gonna take it up just a notch. Instead of sitting on the bike and letting the friction zone go out and go forward and backwards, now we're gonna go forwards. Same thing though, okay? Same thing, friction zone. Try not to give it throttle. If you have a very small CC bike, like 125 or something, you might have to give it a little bit, but that's fine, just a nice little bit. But still, friction zone on the left hand is important. So we're gonna practice our head and eye movement. We're gonna turn the motorcycle, and just like we were practicing at the end, where we're gonna squeeze a little bit of that front brake, we're gonna do that every single cone on the drill. Now here's the drill, okay? So once again, if you don't wanna get the booklet, you could have a phone mount, like a quad lock or a rock form or SB Connect or whatever, a ram mount. I loved those for a while. And so now what we're gonna be doing is the balloon drill. Now this is gonna be simple, just around all the cones right here. So same thing, we're gonna go ahead and practice front brake, lean the leg over, stand it up, and we're next to that first cone, and this is gonna be good practice for the Smart Rider games. This is one of the first exercises. It's a beginner one, but it's fun. Same thing, start it up, make sure my side stand is up, and just like we practice, pull in the clutch, downshift into first gear right there, downshift. We're in first gear, and if you accidentally stall, not a big deal. Pull in the clutch, start it back up. So we're gonna paddle walk to the first cone and squeeze the front brake and pull in the clutch lever all the way back in. So once again, finding that friction zone, and all we're doing is walking. So hands on the handlebars, sit up straight, and we're gonna point our nose, literally my nose, and the motorcycle towards this first cone. We're just paddle walking, and I'm about to squeeze in the clutch and the front brake next to this cone, and that's all we're gonna do. Now we're gonna do the next one. So friction zone, hey, we're starting to move, okay. Turning, and then squeeze both gently next to this cone. Now we have to go around this other cone right here, so that means we're gonna have to turn really hard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to look at this cone the whole time, and if you struggle and you go wide, perfectly fine, use all this space. But we're gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go wide just to show you what it looks like. So I'm looking, friction zone. Now I'm starting to turn. I'm looking towards this other cone, and maybe I'll do this, because I'm worried, but I'm turning. I'm going a little too fast, so you squeeze in the clutch a little bit more. If you go a little too fast, if you squeeze it too much, you stop. Go ahead, squeeze it, or release it a little bit more, and we're starting to move. and we're gonna straighten up the handlebars and squeeze the front brake and the clutch. Now we're gonna go to this one because we're following the design. Same thing, paddle walk, paddle walk. I'm gonna go a little faster, I like it, good. Paddle walk, and we're through. I want you to do that a couple times till you get the feel, but I bet you, because you guys are smart, you're gonna get to a point where like, this is too boring, this is easy. That's good. That's good that it's boring and it's too easy. So if you wanna take the next step, let's lift our feet up a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and do the first one again. So friction zone, we're letting it all the way out accidentally. Too fast, too fast, too fast. Squeeze both the front brake and the clutch if you go too fast, okay? So too fast, too fast. Oh, too fast, dude. Squeeze, squeeze, and stop. Okay, so this next one, I'm gonna go ahead and try to make it sharp. So I'm gonna turn the handlebars already, and something that's gonna help you out is if you lean a little bit to the outside. That's called counterbalancing. So I'm looking this way, I'm leaning this way, friction zone, and you're gonna realize with the handlebar all the way turned, it's pretty easy. I'm gonna probably run over the cone, am I? I turned it too sharp. And there it is. So I'm looking up though. Okay, look up. This is getting too easy now. I'm gonna paddle walk faster. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next one. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Dan or Daniel, whatever you wanna call me. Mr. Fireman. That was too easy. Okay. How about this? Let's lift our feet up and try to make the full circle without stopping. Let's try that. No throttle, just hold it. We're gonna, oh, it's like, oh no, oh. Look, 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 friction zone. If you get to this point on the balloon exercise quickly or whatever, guess what? You're riding a motorcycle. Easy peasy pumpkin easies. Let's do that one more time. But now we're gonna see what it feels like to give it a little throttle. So friction zone, a little bit of throttle, and you could do this if you want, but I recommend put both feet up. So friction zone, so I'm like halfway, maybe a little throttle. And I always want you to know that if you pull in the clutch all the way and you give it throttle, it's not gonna go anywhere. If you give it a little bit of friction zone and you give it a little bit of throttle, it's gonna start taking off nice and smooth. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next exercise called the glide. Now this one, instead of a left hand all the way around, it's a right hand all the way around. So we have to go around the left side all the way around. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see if we can get our feet up. So we're gonna go around all the cones, like all of them, just like if we were doing the balloon, but instead of exiting, we're going around these cones, and I'm looking, we're gonna go in the middle. And if you get to a point where you're like, oh no, I put my foot down like this, all that means is that you need to counterweight and put more weight on the other side. Because you're falling in, it's a balance problem, it's not a skill problem. Well, it is a skill problem, but it's not a you're a terrible person problem and you suck. It's you have too much weight on the inside, so you need to put weight. And usually you can do that with your shoulders, and you can exaggerate it a little bit like this. And then we're gonna exit out. So here we go. Let's go ahead and do that again. Maybe give it a little bit of throttle, just a tiny bit with that friction zone. Don't let out the clutch all the way. We're riding that friction zone. Head and eye movement. I'm gonna go ahead and lean a little bit for that counterweight, for that turn. So I'm using all the space. I'm turning, 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 turning. And then when we're straight, I'm gonna sit up straight. I'm gonna look again. And I'm gonna go ahead and exit between these cones, these two first cones. Okay, once you finish that and you're like, Daniel, that exercise is boring too. The balloon is, I'm good with the balloon, it's boring now. I'm good with the glide, it's boring now. Let's take it up a notch. This is one of the other beginner exercises called the ghost. Now the ghost is a little bit more tricky because now we're not going around 3 cones, we're going around 2, okay? So we're gonna go right over here. So once again, and if you feel like it, you can paddle walk it. Now I gotta turn quickly. Now I'm gonna look the other way. Now I gotta go in between these last 2 cones. Go to the outside. I'm looking at the exit now. And I'm going through. You're gonna notice you're getting better and better and better because you're going a little bit faster. You're smooth too. That's the thing, is you're smooth. And when you're smooth, you're faster. Now pick up our feet on this one. So a little bit of friction zone, maybe a little bit of throttle. I'm gonna pick up my feet right here. I'm looking, now I'm gonna go wide. I'm gonna look the other way. I'm gonna go around this. And I'm exiting out. And that right there, everybody, is the beginner exercises. So how do we shut it off again? So clutch all the way in, squeeze the front brake. I'm gonna look down if I feel like it, half click up. I'm in neutral, side stand, engine shut off, battery, set it on its side stand, come off the bike. So, if you went through all of this, friction zone, just getting to understand the bikes and the primary controls, you did the beginner exercises, guess what? You know how to ride. That's it. Now, to get to the next levels and to get better and faster and to shift in the 2nd gear, 3rd gear, ride on the highway, ride in town, those are just skills built on top of what we're doing right here. All right, everybody, now that we did the beginner exercises, if you feel comfortable there, let's move on to the lefty-loosey and a few of the beginners, and then one moderate exercise that is in the Smart Rider games. Basically drills, exercises to get you ready to ride a motorcycle. So here we go. We're gonna jump into the lefty-loosey, but if you don't feel comfortable yet, keep playing with the beginner exercises until you do. But I really want you to move on to this one with good head and eye movement, friction zone, throttle control, body weight movement, and then fix some of your problems. If you have any questions and concerns like, what am I doing wrong? Write it in the comments, okay? So every time we get on the motorcycle, it's good practice to go ahead and do everything like you normally would. Okay, so turn on the key, front brake, leg over, and we're gonna start the bike. We're gonna do the side stand because we're in neutral. So we're doing the lefty-loosey, and it's a bunch of left-handed U-turns. That last one is really tough, so if you struggle with that one, you can paddle walk if you need to until you get to the point where you can keep all your feet up. If you go wide, hit a cone, not a big deal. We're practicing right now. In the Smart Rider tournaments that I host, you don't want to hit a cone because it doesn't count, okay? We time those ones. So here we go. We're gonna go all the way around everything, just like the balloon, just like the glide, all the way around everything. And I'm gonna look at this next one, and instead of going around everything like in the glide, we're gonna cut it. Cut it in between this one. And this one is tough, so I'm gonna pause right here, and I'm gonna get us as close as we can to this cone, and I'm gonna use all this space because I have to make it between these 2 cones now, and that's tough. That's roughly 20 feet, and 20 feet is typically what is recommended and required for your MSF U-turn and also your endorsement U-turn. So being able to do this last part of the lefty-loosey, make sure it makes it so that you actually completed your endorsement portion of the U-turn. So first I'm gonna go ahead and paddle walk it because it's gonna be tough, especially if you're new. And I'm gonna get way up here and I'm gonna look, turn, counterweight, so I'm leaning off to the other side a little bit, keeping that handlebar as turned as much as I can, and I'm making it through this last part. Now this part, I can go ahead and lift my feet up just a little bit. So now we're gonna do that exercise without stopping at that last part and just go for it, and I'm not gonna paddle walk it. So same thing here, lift my feet up, look at the other cone, counterweight, turn those handlebars, friction zone, throttle control, head and eyes going where I need it to go. You notice how my head is always turned to the left because it's the lefty-loosey. It's all left turns. I'm gonna straighten up, turn my head, turn the handlebars, counterweight, and we're good to go. Okay, so do that a few times until you're super duper comfortable, or until you get bored. That's the thing. If you're completing it and you're starting to get bored, it's time to move on to the next level, okay? The next challenge. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna skip the righty-tighty. That's just a right-handed version of it because I want you to try the two-pole run. It's still left-handed, but it's around 2 cones at a time, okay? So same thing. Maybe the first time you wanna paddle walk it so you get the design right. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm paddle walking. I'm getting around these 2 cones. I'm turning my head, turning my handlebars, and I'm constantly moving. There we go. You're doing good. Now we're gonna go to these outside 2 cones. Same thing. Turn. And then once we pass this, it's time for the exit. So if you want, at this point, I'm gonna lift my feet up. So I'm gonna stop next to this cone, practice my braking. And now we're gonna do that again, but without our paddle walking. We're gonna put our feet up. Head, counterweight, turn those handlebars. The bike won't turn unless you turn those handlebars. So you need to turn those handlebars. If you feel like you're gonna fall in, it just means you need to counterweight. So put weight towards the outside. I'm exaggerating a little bit. So this is what it looks like. I'm putting weight on the outside. Okay? I want you to do those exercises until you get comfortable and you can do it without paddle walking and you're ready to move to the next one. The next one is the bootlace. This is a figure 8 that's really wide. We're gonna put our feet up though. We should be getting to the point where we can put our feet up now. So it's a bootlace. Yeah, it looks like you're lacing your boots, but it's a figure 8. It's a wide figure 8. So here we go. Same thing. We're gonna put our feet up. We're gonna go right in the middle. I'm looking left. Now, I'm straightening up here. I'm looking right. Counterweight. I'm going all the way around all these cones. And now I'm straightening it up a little bit. I'm looking at the exit. I'm turning the handlebars and counterweighting. And we're exiting out. I want you to do that until you're bored of it and you accomplished it. Or if you did it the first try, let's move on to the next one. But I want you to see what it looks like if you give it some power and you have a little fun with it, okay? So here we go. Nice and smooth throttle control, nice and smooth friction zone. I'm still in the friction zone. I'm not letting the clutch out at all, and I haven't this whole time. I've been just kind of feathering it. I've been kind of moving it back and forth, back and forth. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next exercise. There's a whole bunch of them. Here's the snake, that's a lot of fun. Boxer's gloves, that's a lot of fun. Kidney's a lot of fun, but it's hard. Triple threat, lots of fun ones. But what we're gonna be doing is called the orbit. The orbit is a lot of fun. It's not in the games, but it's a great exercise for you to practice your turns. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show it to you. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna paddle walk at the start. We're gonna do this 3 times. And I mean, we're going around in circles 3 times. All right. That's 1. I'm gonna put my feet up. That's 2. And the goal is to make it almost like the smoothest circle ever to where you're not constantly moving your handlebars. And what I mean by that is that when you're constantly turning, you're turning kind of like you found that this is the turning radius that you need and you're just constantly going in a circle. Maybe minor adjustments, kind of like when you're driving, having to do minor adjustments. What I don't want you doing is turning in, doing this, turning in, doing this, turning in, doing this. Keep your head in the same spot, handlebars the same spot, and all you're doing is friction throttle control, okay? Let's do that one more time. But now I want to show you what it looks like when you give it some speed and have some fun. So practicing my front brake, there it is. So I'm just gonna see where, okay, this feels good. I'm just gonna maintain this the whole time. So that's 1. I'm not moving anything. 2. Minor adjustments only. And let's just go ahead and exit out on the 3rd. How about that? Same thing. Engine shut off. Reach for the key. I put my side stand down. I'm gonna let it over. I'm gonna go ahead and swing off the bike. And that's it. Those are the introductions to the Smart Rider games. We had one little extra one that is not in the booklet. So I gave you a little extra there, but I might throw it in the booklet. Who cares, right? Anyways, how to ride. Very simple. You start riding. There it is.